My goodness, Pete Carroll's head has been spinning since Thursday night. He loses his All-Pro, Pro Bowl quarterback, Russell Wilson, to a finger injury that leads him to be out for just shy of the next 2 months. Geno Smith is going to be taking the helm over in Seattle as QB1 for the next foreseeable future, or for the foreseeable future. Guys, I've had diarrhea mouth all night tonight. I'm so sorry. Overall, it doesn't look good for Seattle. It didn't look good for them even when Russell was there. But, I mean, Kyle, I got to get your thoughts, man. Does this immediately put Seattle in a bad place in terms of their remaining outcome for the season?
Yeah, it's going to be definitely tough hill sledding for this team moving forward, just because Russell Wilson is really the guy that's kept this team afloat as far as I'm concerned the last couple years. He's been playing at stretches like an MVP. But at a certain point, it's just defenses are able to scheme against the Seattle offense, and they're able to slow down Russell and the explosiveness that he could bring to the table, just because, let's be honest, it's really Russell Wilson, or that's it. There's nobody else, because their run game has been non-existent ever since Marshawn Lynch left the team. Chris Carson is their number one guy, and he just finds a way to just never see the field on a consistent basis. And that leaves a situation where, 70 to 75% of the offense has to go through Russ, and Russ is going to have to go out there and throw for 350 yards passing to keep this team viable. And that defense is just weak, Kevin. There's no other way I could say it. This team has really been struggling defensively for a couple of years now. They've never been the same since losing Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, like that, just that three-headed monster, and what they had with the Legion of Boom. It's never been the same since those guys left. And to be quite honest with you, I have no faith that Geno Smith is going to be able to keep this team afloat until Russell gets back. I mean, they're sitting at 2-3 right now, which is at the bottom end of the NFC West, and they're going to have to find some sort of way to remain competitive the next couple of weeks, because if they can't find ways to win games with Geno at the helm, when Russell gets back, the season could already be over for them. And I know that's a little bit early. We're only at week 5 in the season, but it's going to be week 11, possibly even later, until Russell gets back. And unless they find a way to kind of remain at a 500 record until that time, I just think it's going to be too big of a mountain to climb. And that's despite how good Russell Wilson is. It's just that I don't have a lot of faith that Geno's going to be able to carry this team for the next 5 to 6, possibly even 7 to 8 weeks. Hopefully Russell can get back into the lineup a little bit sooner than what's expected. But I'm very concerned with Seattle at this point. And I will say this. I think if they really start getting on a losing streak here, I think this could potentially be Pete Carroll's last season as the head coach for the Seattle Seahawks, because they've been kind of hanging on by a thread these last couple seasons. They've kind of disappointed when they've reached the playoffs, even despite the fact that they have a high caliber quarterback in Russell Wilson. But if this team can't get it together, this could potentially be Pete Carroll's last season as the coach for Seattle. And to be quite honest with you, this offseason could get very interesting, because Russell could be like, why do I want to stay here? This team is not going in the right direction, and it hasn't been for a couple of years at this point. So it's all dependent on what they could do the next 5 or 6 weeks. This is absolutely crucial territory for Seattle. And if they find a way to be at a 500 record by the time that Russell gets back, I think that'll be enough to get by. But if they really start slipping, yeah, it could get very bad for Seattle moving forward. So, Kevin, I'll kick it to you from here.
I mean, it's like you said, bro. We've been watching this happen for the last few years, where Seattle gets into the playoffs but disappoints, or they fail to make the playoffs, or they squeak in, and it's just been kind of an up and down trending kind of couple years for the Seahawks. And when you have a generational quarterback like Russell Wilson, when you had a once in a lifetime fucking defense like the Legion of Boom, you capitalized, you got yourself a Super Bowl, you went to 2 of them, you fell short in an NFC Championship game, but overall, the Seahawks did what they needed to do. Russell has done everything he can for a franchise. But it's like we said before the season started, and I know I made that bet, and I still owe you that case. Russell Wilson should have left this offseason. This team is not going to get any better. They have plateaued. The defense, stagnant. You traded 2 first-round picks for a blitz packaging, basically linebacker in Jamal Adams. You're wasting the talents of DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett just signed an extension, so he's stuck there. You have no offensive line. Your top 2 running backs in Chris Carson and Rashad Penny, or whatever the hell his last name is, I just can't remember his damn name. The 2 of them combined to miss a total of basically an entire season every year. Your quarterback, your head coach is basically the oldest coach in the NFL. It's the same shit every year. Russell's got to carry you. Russell's got to force the ball. Russell then has to make up for the turnovers that he had. Well, your best defensive player, like I said, you traded 2 first-round picks, and he was getting blown in coverage last week. Over the top. Who the hell did they just play last week?
They were playing the Rams last week.
50-year-old Deshaun Jackson just blew by you. Bro, are you kidding me? You got turned around like a ballerina. You look like a joke. That's what you traded 2 first-round picks for? Oh, because he sacks the quarterback once every couple of weeks, that makes him the best safety in football? Come on, man. He hits hard, but he has been playing very subpar since he got to Seattle, outside of a couple exceptional plays, in which, like I said, he was either rushing the quarterback or he kind of made a crazy hit on a ball carrier. Overall, Seattle doesn't look good. Russell Wilson is out for the foreseeable future, at least a minimum of 6 weeks. Geno Smith did, however, come into this game, and he lit that Rams defense up for a good portion of yards. I mean, the first drive, he went 5 for 5 and threw a touchdown to DK Metcalf and pretty much threw him open, which was great. However, he did lose the game for them with that interception late in the fourth quarter, so I'm not going to sit here and say he made no mistakes, but give Geno some time. It looked like him and the offense did mesh very well together. He's going to get first-team reps. We will see what happens. I'm not saying Seattle's going to win. I'm not saying Seattle's going to have a winning record while he's in, but I can't say that he's a scrub. If he did that to Jalen Ramsey and those boys for pretty much, the entire second half almost, if not like a quarter and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, Geno Smith didn't look terrible. I would say they'd be in bigger trouble if he came in that game and immediately shit the bed. But that does give defenses some time to scheme against him, so we will see what happens. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Kyle. This very well could be Pete Carroll's last year in Seattle. If I'm being honest with you, if I'm Russell Wilson and I see that this season pretty much is a wash, I'm not coming back because I'm not risking another injury, nor what I can bring to the table to another team. Because if Pete's gone, I think Russ is gone. And at that point, you're in full rebuild mode, man. That core got a championship together, and by core I mean Pete Carroll, Bobby Wagner, and Russell Wilson, because that's all that's left from that team.
Well, these next 3 weeks are going to be critical for Seattle because they play the Steelers, they play the Saints, and they play the Jaguars. Those are 3 either
Winnable.
subpar or average teams. So there are some winnable games there. But then after that, they got to play the Packers. That's a loss. Then they got to play the Cardinals after that. That's a loss. And then they got to play Washington after that, which is another winnable game. And then they play the 49ers after that. That might be around the time that Russell may come back, as that 49ers game, possibly the Texans game right after that. So, we're kind of looking towards like the beginning of December when we could be seeing Russell Wilson hit the field again. But, these next 3 games are absolutely critical for them. If they lose all 3 of these games, it's over. Because the Steelers are basically at 500 right now. I think they're sitting at 2-3, so they're almost at 500. The Saints are up and down with Jameis, to say the least, and the Jaguars are just a dumpster fire. So they'll beat the Jaguars, but these next 2 games are going to be very difficult for them to win, in my opinion, just because I just don't have a lot of faith that Geno can get it done. He could show good spurts throughout the game. It's just it has to be consistent enough, and I just haven't seen that. I mean, Kevin, I don't even know when the last time he started was on a consistent basis. He was back with the Jets probably, but you're looking at what, like 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
Yeah, because he's been on Seattle for a little bit now, and the stat line just showed Russell hasn't missed a start in his NFL career. So if Geno did touch the field, it's because Russell had to come out for a play or something like that. But like Kyle said, it's been quite some time since he started in an NFL game outside of being in New York.
Hey, if he can evade pass rushers and he can find ways to not get sacked and get the ball to Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, possibly even Disley at the tight end spot. Who knows? So I don't want to say like it's all doom and gloom for Seattle. Like this is the end of Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Like this is like it's going to happen. But I will say this: they gotta play these next 3 games well, because if they don't, that possibility that I kind of outlined, it may become a little bit more leaning towards reality if they just don't find ways to win. So winning solves everything. But if they lose, yeah, it could get very dicey in Seattle moving forward.